Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for checking out the channel. And today I'm going to do a walkthrough of how to make a video podcast using NotebookLM and a few pretty high-powered AI tools. So what do I mean by video podcast is basically a faceless YouTube channel that uses AI to generate talking head characters, audio clips in a podcast format. So if you're not familiar with NotebookLM, there's tons of videos about it. It's super fantastic tool that just came out. And what we're going to do is create these video podcasts using NotebookLM. So I'm going to give you an example here of what one of these would look like. So give me 1 second.
Hey there, and welcome to your personal deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
That's right.
Get ready for a crash course in upgrading your life one tiny tweak at a time.
Yeah, we'll be your guides as we uncover how those small changes you barely notice can create massive ripples of change over time.
You know, it's funny, we're always bombarded with these stories of overnight success.
Right.
But Clear suggests a totally different approach.
Yeah.
Forget the grand overhauls and focus on the power of tiny gains.
Absolutely. He uses this really compelling example.
All right, so basically what we're going to do is show you how to create one of these video podcasts. We're going to go through all the different steps, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll have an idea of how to create one of these video podcasts using NotebookLM and a few other handy AI tools. So first we are going to begin with NotebookLM. There's a lot of good tutorials on YouTube right now about how to use it, so I'm going to just do a really quick walkthrough of the features, but definitely check out some of the other online videos that go into a lot more detail about how to NotebookLM works. But basically what I did is I already created one over here, so I'm just going to open up this one. And basically all I did was I uploaded a PDF summary that I found online of the book Atomic Habits. And NotebookLM basically does an analysis. It uses AI software to kind of go through the material and generate the actual full podcast. Now, on a separate video, I'll probably get into details of the other things it can do, because it doesn't just do an audio podcast, which by the way is like a killer function and probably the #1 reason people use NotebookLM, but it can do some other cool things, including FAQs, briefing docs, study guides. So for students and researchers and whatnot, it does so many awesome things. But today we're just focusing on the podcast. So after a while, what it generates is a summary, which I'll actually do use the summary. I'll usually copy and paste it in the video descriptions. But right here, if you see, it's 20 minutes long.
It's as we uncover how those small changes you barely notice can create massive ripples of change over time.
You know, it's funny, we're always bombarded with these stories of...
So, right now, what we're going to do is, I've already downloaded it, but this is where you would go to download it. All right. And when you download it, obviously this is going to be one whole podcast audio file. Now, the next step that we're going to have to, the next step to create a video talking head podcast is we've got to separate this audio file that's 21 minutes long into 2 distinct speakers. What I mean by that is to create this video that we did here, there are 2 separate speakers, and so we need 2 separate audio tracks. The reason we do this is when you create a talking head video, you want the characters to be lip synced. And to be able to do that, you can't do that with one audio track. You have to have two separate audio tracks with each speaker's audio separated out. So unable to do lip syncing of two different talking people, you have to have two separate audio tracks where each person's part when they're talking is there. Now, typically to do that, you would have to in the old days, when I mean old days, maybe a year ago, you would have to use an audio editing software to kind of go in and edit the clips and take out the segment of the male talking and the female talking and vice versa, which would take too long. And obviously, I'm not going to do that today. What we're going to do instead is we're going to use the second tool, which is speakersplit. Speakersplit.io does just that. You can go here to the website, sign up. They do give you credits that you can buy as you go. They're super affordable actually, because each audio output where you split the speakers, it only takes 2 credits. So what happens is you would go here, you would upload the entire podcast that you get from NotebookLM, and when you hit process audio, what it does is it goes ahead and reads the entire file, and it will cut out the audio separating the first speaker from the second speaker. And what it'll do is it'll output 2 separate audio tracks. That way you don't have to go into an audio editor and do it manually. And just to give you guys an example, a 20-minute audio clip will take about 2 hours of editing just to separate the audio. So this online app, speakersplit.io, does a great job of doing that. And as you can see, it's already done. So it just split out speaker A, speaker B, and you can download each track separately, and then it gives you the transcript also here if you want to do captions. So once you have that, the next step is going to be creating your characters. Okay, so obviously there's so many different AI image generators. There's Midjourney, there's others out there. My personal favorite right now is Flux. Flux does a really good job of creating realistic, very like photorealistic characters, and that's gonna be a kind of a separate tutorial on how to do that. As far as if you're not familiar with how to use image generators, there are other YouTube videos, but what I did is I went to Replicate, and what Replicate does real quick is it uses several different generative AI companies and kind of puts them all under one kind of roof, if you want to say. That way, like, you can go here and just search all different types of image generators or different AI apps, and this is probably one of the best ones I've ever used, is Flux 1.1 Pro. And this is where you'd put in your prompt, and each time you run it, it'll generate like fantastic looking prompts. And you can always, like, obviously we won't use that one because it's got 2 headphones, but you could just kind of filter through and create one for the male speaker and one for the female speaker. And I've already done that. And yeah, so these are my characters. As you can see, that's my female host and that's the male host. And we'll go into another video down the road on how to create consistent characters for other videos, but for now, just go use either Midjourney or you can use Flux and create your AI characters that way. Now the next step is, and this is an optional step, I would go to ElevenLabs, and what I'll do is I will take these separated audio files and I will go to the voice changer, and what I'll do is the change the accent or the voice of the original NotebookLM actor's voice, which is not bad, by the way. And honestly, you don't have to do this step because NotebookLM's podcast audio quality is very realistic, is very expressive, very natural sounding. You don't have to do this step. The only reason I'm adding it here is because within the next 6 months to a year, there's going to be so many of these podcasts that sound the same, even though the topics are different. If you want to differentiate your videos from others that are going to be sounding the same, or even if you're just uploading the audio podcast directly to Spotify and you're not going to do a video, which I recommend because you get more engagement. But if you want to make it more unique, go to ElevenLabs and do the voice changer. And what you can do is,
God has given you one face.
see, you can change the accent of the speakers to different ones, right? To match the personality of your voice actors. So if you wanted to have like a British accent or an Indian accent or a different type of accent, you can do that, and you can give your podcast a more diverse kind of or just sounding different, than other notebook LMs. So this is a great step if you want to make it super distinct. All right. So once you've done that, the next step is obviously going to be the most important, which is which image to video is the best one to use that does the best lip sync. Now, obviously, there are a lot of what's called talking portrait, basically, or picture to video AI software out there. We've tried different ones. I've personally tried several, and my favorite right now is Hedra. As you can see, they've recently updated their website, and just the quality, the lip sync, the non-verbal gestures, the head movements, everything is just perfect. So this is the one that I recommend more than any other one, and you're going to get better results. Now, the only thing I will say with them is when you go to picking the account, if your podcasts are going to be super short, like less than a minute, you can keep the free account, right? Now, most of the NotebookLM podcasts, as you can see here, they're going to be 20 minutes long, right? So if you're going to be having 20-minute long podcasts, I recommend upgrading to either the creator or the professional, only because if you have to divide a 20-minute long podcast into 2-minute clips, that's like 10 clips per, you're going to have to generate 10 clips per host, if that makes sense. So later on in post-production, when you go to stitch together all the talking head videos, you're going to have less editing to do if you have longer clips, if that makes sense. So now obviously, if you really want to save time, and that's what I'm all about, I would go ahead, and even though I have the creator plan, I will upgrade to the professional down the road, only because upgrading from 2 minutes to 12-minute clips basically makes your editing 6 times easier, right? Because you just have less clips to stitch together later on. That being said, let me show you how to use it. So it's really simple. You just basically, you would upload, you would go through, before we go to this step, right, let me go back here. it's very important to, once you have your separated audio files, speaker A and speaker B separated out, let's say that your plan, where am I? Let's say your Hedra plan, it was already in Hedra, is 2 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to cut down or trim down your separated audio track into 2-minute long clips. All right. That's pretty simple to do. I'm not going to go into detail on how to do that here, but as you can see right here, this is about a 2-minute clip. If I make this clip a little bit longer, like right here, it would be over 2 minutes, as you can see. So what I had to do is just trim this down into 2-minute long clips and export it out. All right. So because this is like I said, this is a 20-minute long file. All right. I'm going to have roughly 10 clips. All right. So that would be like 1 and then 2 and 3, 4, all the way up to here. And they have to be under 2 minutes because that's what I got on my plan. So what you're going to end up with is a folder that looks like this. Okay. So each one of these is about 2 minutes long and it's separated by speaker. So I took that one long speaker A file and cut it into 12 cuts. Same thing with speaker B. This is one long speaker B file, which is a second speaker, but I cut it down to smaller chunks. And again, the only reason I had to do that is because I got the 2-minute plan. Now keep in mind, if I had the 12-minute plan, I would only have like 2 files for each speaker. I hope that makes sense, but that's about as easy as I can explain it. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically, once you have your 2-minute clip files, I'm going to just show you how to do that. You would go back here, and each one of these I would upload one at a time. So you upload that. So speaker A is going to be the girl. So this may not be there. So you can just change. If you wanted to change this, you would just change this to whatever your model photo was. So, right, I could change it to that if I wanted to. And then once you're ready to generate the video, just generate the video. And it usually takes about, it's not going to take long. Each one of these little clips, the 2-minute clips, takes about 10 minutes to generate. So you just have to be patient and get it over with. But once you do, this is what it looks like.
Such a great question. It helps us strip away all the external stuff and tap into our true source of inspiration. What lights you up? What would you create if you knew you couldn't fail? Absolutely. The book also gives us a framework for overcoming bad habits. Those things we do that we know aren't good for us.
It's like becoming a detective of your own mind.
All right, guys. So basically, that's how the clips look. That's how they sound. And obviously, once you have all of your clips, your Hedra clips generated, and remember, that's going to depend on the total size of how long your podcast is. You're going to have a folder of all your audio clips and your video clips just like this. So have one folder that you download for your video clips, and then have one folder for your audio clips. And then you're going to use the audio clips to make the video clips. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the last step basically is you'll just need a video editor. It could be anything, CapCut, whatever you like to use. I use CapCut because it's free. And you just go down here and you'll stitch together all your Hedra AI together. It'll be in sync, which is great. That way you don't have to worry about syncing issues in terms of when the speakers are talking, because they'll always be in the same. They'll be taking turns just like they did on the audio version. And then what I would do is I would create like masks for each one, or you could do a split screen. I've seen those. I personally like to use masks where not the whole clip is the whole background, everything is shown, because I want to kind of have a branding. And this one's going to be a book review, so this is kind of what I'm doing. But that being the case, guys, again, this is the final product, just so that you could take a look one more time.
The British cycling team in the early 2000s,
Okay.
they were stuck in a rut, barely making a dent in the cycling world.
Right.
But then they hired a new coach who had this radical philosophy of finding 1% improvements in every single thing.
Okay, hold on, everything. That
Yeah.
seems a little extreme, doesn't it?
It does sound
But like, how much difference can tweaking the handlebar tape really make?
You'd be surprised. They obsessed over minute details. From testing different fabrics for aerodynamic advantages in their uniforms to redesigning bike seats for a minuscule edge.
All right, guys. So basically, that's kind of a brief walkthrough of how to create these NotebookLM video podcasts. Hopefully, all the tools that we covered are super helpful. And yeah, like if you, this is the results I got. And yeah, there's gonna be, I'm gonna do more videos on maybe like a deep dive on each particular one, or different aspects of it down the road. But this is kind of like a general overview, so hopefully it's been useful and helpful for you as far as, you know, what steps or how to, you know, make one of these videos. I just think that there's a lot of potential with these, especially when you get into the branding side, and creating AI characters or avatars that you control and you own, and that you're writing scripts for, or actually you're not the one doing it, NotebookLM is. So you're basically like a producer, an executive producer, and you have the flexibility and the power to generate content around any kind of topic you want. And with the power of AI, you're able to create your own actors, your own talent, and you can even fine-tune it down to the type of voice you want to use. So this is very powerful stuff, guys, and there's a lot of cool things around the corner with this. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. Definitely share the video, give it a like, and definitely drop your comments. Thanks, guys.